This is the Fujifilm X-S20, portable, lightweight, hybrid camera that's great for both photos and videos.
Well, yes.
So we're gonna talk about pros and cons of this camera and see whether or not it's a good fit for you guys. So let's go. So a little background about me. I've mostly been pretty much an iPhone shooter. All of my videos, YouTube videos, TikToks, all filmed on an iPhone. But I wanted to dabble a little bit into photography. Babes is a photographer. She got all that DSLRs. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a mirrorless and test this out. The Fujifilm X-S20 is what I would consider like a jack of all trades. Most of the specs here will cater towards photography needs, but it also has some features that are really good for video as well. So you could really use this for like a versatile camera, you know, just do it all type of thing. Just to get the elephant out in the room, the autofocus. So if you've known a little bit about Fujifilm, they tend to have a lot of trouble, I guess, with autofocus compared to like other brands. But for me personally, it's definitely something to work with, I would say. I don't think it's as bad as other brands are in terms of autofocus, but you would definitely need to put a little bit more effort into getting like the focus in a lot of your shots down. We have the kit lens, of course, the 16-50, f2.8 to 4.8. You have 3 different dials here. This one you could use for color sims. This one you can change like the modes, and then this one you can adjust like the overall exposure. And then you also have this dial here that you can adjust. But you should be able to customize these dials in menu anyway, so you could always set this to something else and then set this one to something else. I think one of the best parts about this camera is really the feel. It's a very tactile camera, like the grip is just really sharp. And I think that's like one of the positives that really drew me into the Fujifilm. Do you want to actually make sure that you like the camera that you're using? Like, does it feel good? Is it something that you want to carry around all the time? You know, you don't want to carry around a big camera and you're like, I'm never going to use it because it's just too heavy all the time. But this is pretty compact, like compared to like a iPhone here, iPhone 13. It's like, you know, not that much bigger. It's definitely thicker. It's a thick boy, look at that. You also have a monitor that's rotatable, so you could always do selfies, like how you see me now recording with the Osmo here. I got a viewfinder too. One part of Fujifilm that a lot of people like is the color science. Fujifilm cameras, they have these things called film simulations, which are basically, well, from what I know, I think it's like they have like different color types, like presets. If you go into this dial here, you can do all these different, what they call film simulations here. So you can see they have like a basic description of, you know, when you would use each type of simulation more or less. One of my favorites that I've been liking a lot is Sepia. It just has like this really 80s throwback type of vibe. The other one I like is this one here, Velvia, okay, Velvia, got it. This one I would use it for like, you know, nature, like flower pics. Oof, it brings out the color there. All right, here's what it's like with the different film simulations. You have Sepia right here. Here you got Velvia. It's definitely more vibrant. You can see a lot more colors popping out basically. I think it's a little bit more saturated. What's really great about the Fujifilm as well is the battery life. It can handle like a good like video shoot day of just, you know, doing a vlog. You'll still have like a good amount of bars of the battery left. In terms of video features, this can film in open gate. So open gate, it's basically like it uses the entire sensor to do recording, and that's actually really useful if you want to take like a video, but you want to basically crop it down to like vertical. You can use that same video for like, you know, a horizontal YouTube video, or you can do it for like a more vertical like Instagram reels or TikTok reels. My still in frame. This is the first time I'm filming in OpenGate, so I don't know if it works as I said it works, but let's see how it looks. What do you guys think? You think it's good? Or you could also record in 10-bit. Recording in 10-bit, it gives you a lot more color, so you'll see a lot more like vibrant colors coming out of your videos. For the audio quality, I think it's pretty solid. I would say it's serviceable, but if you want to get a little bit more crispy audio, I definitely recommend connecting this to like a external like mic. I think that would really help, like a shotgun mic. Could also try something like a DJI mic. And also the Fujifilm has IBIS, which is what is it, internal body image stabilization. I think it really helps a lot with like the stabilization of the video. I think it's not bad, but I think it's serviceable. This would be really good on like a gimbal, or like if you have like a tripod or something and you're doing recordings, this would be good. But for handheld, I think it's alright, but you guys can let me know how that looks like. Is the camera shaky for you guys? Is it good enough? And I'm doing it all handheld shooting. And how's the audio? Does the audio pick up pretty well? Or let me know what you guys think here. In terms of overheating, I never had it overheat yet. There's also a setting as well, as you can put like it has like a temperature like threshold. So if you put it to high, that means it can take a lot more heat before like the camera shuts down. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the cons. One thing is like, in terms of navigating the menu, there's a lot of different settings here. Having a lot of options might definitely make a lot of people confused about like, what settings should I do? But I think having these options really makes it solid for providing like a customizable experience.
Well, yes. Yeah.
And you can also save like custom settings anyways. I think it's like around here, so you can like change the buttons, change the dials. Another thing that might be a con is the weather sealing. The weather sealing is just like, can the camera handle more like difficult type of weather? So like if you're in a rainforest, or like under rainy conditions, snowy conditions, depending on what you like to use the camera for. Like, if you're more of like a adventure, outdoor type, like stuff like a GoPro or a DJI Action, those would be a lot more suited for this. And this one might be more just because of my background, but I noticed the Fujifilm doesn't really have like a zoom rocker, any type of like digital zoom that you might get very used to on like an iPhone or an Android or like a point and shoot camera. This camera actually really teaches you a lot about like composition, like knowing how to compose like your shots. Like you have to physically like move there and take those shots, or if you have like a zoom lens, right, you can get some of that range out. It's definitely something that I was like, oh, there's no zoom on this. And the Fuji lady at B&H, she was like, honey, this doesn't have no digital zoom. You just got to know how to compose. And I'm like, dang. This is an APS-C crop sensor inside the camera. So if you know a little bit about APS-C and a little bit about full frame, basically APS-Cs have a little bit of a smaller sensor than a full frame sensor. Some people are gonna say, you know what, you should get a full frame because that's gonna keep you future proof. Full frame's better than APS-C because you have a bigger sensor and it's better in low light and stuff like that. And I think a lot of it really depends on your use case, because I have the Sony ZV-E1, that's the full frame. The thing with full frame is that because it's a bigger sensor, you also need full frame lenses, and those full frame lenses tend to be like more expensive and they tend to be more bigger. So even if you get like a small full frame camera, once you put on those lenses, it's gonna be a lot really heavy compared to like something with APS-C. But I think the thing is like, and I also tell myself this, it's like you can try to like do all the specs, like you want to get the best camera possible and all that, but at the end of the day, it's like whatever camera you do have, like just really know how to like use the camera, try to like master it and stuff like that, and basically work with what you got. It's really about the experience, like how do you use it, do you like using the camera, right? So I wouldn't focus too much on like specs or like what is it, gear acquisition syndrome. At the same time, like you gotta think about your wallet. You don't want to be dropping 10K on like different lenses and cameras because you can't make up your mind about stuff. And for the low light tests, pretty solid, I think. A lot of it's really the lens here. So this lens here, f2.8 to f4.8, it's not gonna do that good in low light, but for daytime, like it's really negligible. This is what the shot looks like here at nighttime. Not bad for a f2.8. So as long as you got lights here, it's pretty solid. Zoom in a little bit. You see it gets a little darker because of the aperture, variable aperture. So as the higher the f-stop, the less light it lets in. See, as it's getting darker. Yeah. I do have my, let me see if I got it here. I have this lens that I bought. It's probably one of my favorite portrait lenses so far. So this is 33 milliliter APS-C focal length. So if you convert it to full frame, it's like 50 milliliters, f1.4. Really solid for portraits. It's a little bit tight if you want like group shots, but for the use case that I'm doing it for, you know, getting like that single person shot or maybe two people, if they're like squeezed in, this is a really solid one. And having the aperture of f1.4, you really get that sharp like background blur and that sharp focus on the subject that you're putting it on. And having a fast aperture, basically a lower f-stop, that's pretty good in low light. So if it gets dark and we're still recording, I'm going to show a little bit of that low light. And this lens is weather sealing, so I guess this can tackle more difficult weather conditions, but my Fuji body itself cannot. So it's like, at least the lens might be okay. All right, so here's the big one, the price, right? For the body alone, it's $14.99. And with the kit lens here, this specific kit lens and the body, it's gonna be $18.99 in total. So that's gonna kind of scare a lot of people, because I'm considering like, you know, people that are like in college or people that just graduated from college, maybe just started their first job, right? This is gonna be a lot, but I would say if you can find it and the aftermarket for cheaper, I think this would be a really great camera. If you don't want to exactly aim for the cheapest camera, cameras are going to be around this price more or less. Like if you want something like a mirrorless, you know, that can take good photos, good videos, it's going to be around the thousands, I would say, or a little bit more. There are entry-level cameras that are like around sub-$1,000 or less. The camera body, you know, you want a decent one at least, but I think the most important part is definitely the camera lens. The lens is really going to take that sensor and really maximize the use of it. So if you get like a fast like prime lens, you're gonna get that really sharp image, really good in low light. If you want a little bit more flexibility, right, you could do like a zoom lens, you know, like a 16-50. If you want more telephoto, you could do 70-300, get like those moon pics. So the ultimate question is this camera worth it for you? Overall, I would say if you're someone that likes to take photos, but you still want to take a little bit of video, you maybe like do vlogs and stuff like that, I think this camera is probably one of the best value cameras you could get. In terms of the money, yeah, it's definitely a lot of money, but if you can find it on the aftermarket for like lower than the retail price, I think that's a steal, honestly. And yes, there are some drawbacks, like, you know, the autofocus isn't as strong and it's not weather sealed either, but honestly, those things aren't as big of a deal. I think the pros just outweigh the cons. Like, it just feels nice to have around with you. I always feel pretty happy whenever I bring out my Fujifilm. I'm like, yes, let me get that color science in there. If there's a B&H store near you, if there's like a camera store near you, definitely try out these cameras. The most important thing is you want to get a camera that you enjoy, you feel inspired to pick it up and use it every day. Because if you get like, let's say, a really spec-wise, the best camera ever, right, but you don't enjoy using it, then what's the point you bought it, right? Because it's just sitting there collecting dust. Get a camera that you really enjoy using. Don't really focus too much on the specs, just focus more on the experience. Like, try it out for a little bit. Do you like it, right? If you like it enough, is this something that you would take out often? Is this something you would use often? Then, you know, there you go. Then that camera is for you, basically. I love the Fujifilm X-S20. Oh, that branch fell off. But I will use it more, and I'm gonna use it for a photography photo shoot later today, because my friend wants headshots for like roles as background roles in like a movie film, like extras. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring this camera. I'm gonna use my portrait lens here. I'm gonna get that sharp background blur. So we're gonna try that out. That is my review here. So thank you guys for watching. This is the Fujifilm X-S20, and I think it is a really great, best value camera that you can get for this price range. So there you have it, guys. All right, see you guys later. Bye. All right, guys, it is nighttime, and there's one thing I forgot to show you. This has actually a what's it called? Like a flash. It has a built-in flash on it. So you could take a lot of good photos. Let me show you a good sample here.
Hey, look at that. Look at that flash. Hey. So this could be really useful for nighttime. Like if you need to, get a little bit more light inside, you can use that built-in flash right there. Yeah.